All right, I'm about to clean up some of my junk from metal detecting. When I get done, usually out maybe 7, 8 hours sometimes. Yesterday I got in the stream. It was like 10:30 and I left at about 6:30. So pretty full day of stream hiking, and I had an hour and 15 minutes to drive home after that. So I'm usually pretty beat when I get done, and I usually just unload and set my stuff up to dry, and usually get a shower. My junk ends up here. Let me show you my system here, which is not much of a system, admittedly. So here you could see some of my stuff that's mostly dried from yesterday. Here's the pack that I use. It's kind of like a fanny pack that goes around, and then I have this here is where I keep all my, let's call it junk. It's not 100% junk. And then usually what happens is the next time I go detecting, this thing is still filled, and I empty it out, and you can see my trash is overflowing here. So it's definitely time to clean this up. I do keep it for a couple reasons. One is there's good stuff in there. So actually going through this trash, I'm gonna find there's coins in here. There's some interesting relics. Sometimes if I'm detecting and I don't quite know what I have and I think it's trash, I drop it in my bag, and do plan to look through it later. So part of this exercise is going to be pulling some of the good stuff out of here. And then the other thing is I want to get them sorted so that I can ultimately recycle these, what can get recycled. I have several boxes here. They're all covered up here, but you can see in here under my dirty socks, I've got boxes of lead, several boxes filled with lead sinkers. About 2 years ago, just under 2 years ago, I did a video, and at the time I had weighed 65 pounds. I'm probably over 100 pounds of lead sinkers now. So those I definitely want to eventually sell into a scrapyard. But yeah, I've got other things. I'm sure I got brass and copper in here. So what I'm going to do is just start sorting this out, and we'll see what you can see. I have coins in here. I have a whole bunch of coins in here. And again, the reason I'm doing that is really for efficiency. Because when I'm detecting, I want to dig as much as I can, and I don't want to stop. So if I get a coin, sure, a quarter is worth something to me for sure, but I just throw it in the bag here rather than collecting it. Now, if it's like a silver coin or something valuable, I will put that in my fines container to keep it protected while I'm detecting. But yeah, you could see, we'll go through here. You can see here I've got stuff like pocket knives. I find tons of these arcade tokens. I probably have like 30 or 40 of these things. And then, yeah, all kinds of lead in here. So I still got to sort a bunch of lead out. Here's another arcade token that's in there. Matchbox cars, and yeah, all kinds of stuff. Fishing lures here, dog tags. This isn't a dog tag. Actually, this is from one of my hotspot. I find a ton of these tags that have numbers on them. Here's another one that I found there, right there. So yeah, so I'm just gonna start sorting everything. It's gonna take a while. I found this really cool buckle recently. That's kind of neat. But yeah, it's gonna take me a little while, and I'll time lapse this, and we'll hopefully see these piles start to emerge of what kind of good stuff is in here, and what kind of stuff I can recycle. And so the fun begins. This was rather exhausting. I was doing this for quite a while. Trying to sort out aluminum scrap, which ultimately I just put in with my recycling, pulling out sinkers and putting those in the boxes that are back there. You can see a pretty big pile of iron forming there, horseshoes and whatnot. Kind of in the center of all that was things I was putting that I'd want to keep, matchboxes and
utensils, and there's a couple phones going down there that I found. And in the bottom corner there are things that I think I'll be able to recycle, some copper and brass. And I'm getting a small pile of change growing there. Like I said, this was a very exhausting process, but so glad I got this all cleaned up.
All right, it's been an exhausting process here. I still have a little bit to clean up, as you can see here, but I think I have most of it sorted out. A couple of pull tabs in there I'll still pick up yet, but let me walk you through what I have here. So actually, let me start over here. So here's a bucket of scrap iron, and I have stuff that I wouldn't be interested in. Here's all my pull tabs. I have a collection of these. I'll add that to this collection. And here's scrap metal, copper, brass. Not sure the best way to sort this, but we'll figure that out. And I'll probably have to go to one of these recycling centers and see exactly what they want from that. But hopefully I can at least trade that in. And not sure what I'm gonna do with all this iron here, but I mean, it looks super cool. So there's one, this is not iron here. Not sure what that's made of. That's like a modern horseshoe, but you can see a variety of horseshoes in here. Most of them come out broken. I think I have two here that are complete. These two. A variety of spikes that I have. Not sure. They're kind of cool looking, but unfortunately they're just going to continue to rust away. Probably have to put them under electrolysis. I got this cool hammer. These three things here I found up in New Hampshire. We were finding a ton of these in the field. They somehow like link together. I think they go in somehow like this. Not sure how they do it, but yeah, they somehow link together like that, and they form kind of like a chain. Yeah, and here's a what I believe to be, it's kind of a small one, but I think that's a train coupling loop. I think so. That may have been to really small cars. That would have been my best guess on that, but you know, and a couple of these little spikes. I love these hand forged spikes like this. All right, and here's my collection of lead. All the various sinkers. I've done whole videos on these. I just love these. People just take a chunk of lead and, you know, the soft lead, and drill a hole in it. And I've got so many of these. So I probably will split these apart to take the soft lead from the hard lead. I think you get more money that way when you sort it, and I'm gonna have to clip off all the fishing wire there. But you could see all the other lead I have. Like I said, I'm pretty sure I'm up over 100 pounds of lead there. But this is kind of a fun thing because I kind of got to metal detect through my metal detecting stuff. So here's a bunch of just clad that I have sorted out of this. Now, you know, sometimes when I'm out detecting, I'll throw it in my pockets and bring it in with, but this is just stuff I just threw in my pouch and ended up in the junk bin. Here's a whole bunch of lures that I've separated. I kind of keep these together. But yeah, let's go through some of this stuff here. A couple of like toy guns here that I have. I usually find those in the streams. A wide variety of Matchbox cars and little toys, and there's an airplane on the end. So those are super cool. Three people had some bad days, probably toppled in their inner tubes or their kayaks. There's three phones. I have a ton of these. You know, here's a couple of these little arcade tokens. I don't know, I probably have like 25, 30 of these upstairs all together. So I'll put those with those. A whole bunch of tag type of things. I have a whole bunch of these from my hotspot. Still trying to figure out exactly what these were for. Maybe a locker or something, like key fobs. But there's a whole bunch of different shapes. They all usually have a number stamped in them. I think that's actually what these are too. I think, because there's three of these that I found. Some bird tags, the tree tags here, you know, for plants, roses, trees. A couple of dog tags in here. Never know what to do with those. I always wondered, like, you know, would somebody want to get these tags back?
I'm not sure. Right, so I think for some of these I'd have to call like the treasurer who would contact the person. So I'm not super interested in doing that. And yeah, I'm not sure if somebody would want those back or not. This is something, I have no idea what this is. Has some fancy on it though. So I kind of kept that. A couple of watch. Here's a pocket watch. Unfortunately, just like the front or I guess the back of it. And a couple of watches here. Movements to a watch. The old clock parts I kept. A couple of pocket knives here. Keep things that have writing on it. Are interesting to research. Like this thing here has some writing on it. A couple of buckles in here. We always find buckles when we detect. I actually like these. I want to figure out a cool way to display all the buckles I have. But these I'll add to my collection. This one here is going to be an old one. That's pretty cool. And this is another one of my mystery items. If you haven't seen that video, you can check it out. I found this one like after I put that video together, so that's added to it. I usually don't keep pottery. There's something interesting about those pieces there that I just kept. Same thing with glass. There's obviously a very old piece of glass that went probably to a bottle. It's kind of cool that I found a couple of musket balls and buckshot in and among the mix. I usually pull those out when I'm doing when I'm coming home with my finds, and a couple of shells, rifle shells and whatnot there. I've got 3 lipstick tubes. Back here's a rosette actually, this thing. There's lead on the back of that. It's a rather plain one. And you can see a bunch of the sunglasses that get lost. Pretty sure I found all those in the streams. And utensils. Spoons, varying ages. Back there's a measuring spoon. I think there's a second one in here somewhere. Yeah, this one right in here in the middle. And a couple, none of these are solid silver. I would have pulled those aside, but still they're pretty cool. Might be able to research and check them out, their ages and stuff. Some of these are a little bit old. Old razor blade there. Razor blade handle actually. And I think those are for barber clippers. I got a couple of keys here. I always feel bad about that. Somebody had a bad day when they went to get in their car or open their house door or whatever those keys were for. I didn't realize I had so many lighters, but there's a number of lighters there. And some locks. Like a door plate in there. And little cases here. And of course the porcelain inserts to the mason jars. And some car signs there. Fuel injection. So that's basically it. Boy, I'm so stiff and sore. But yeah, super excited to have at least that section over there cleaned out. And I need to stay on top of this more as I come home from detecting. But a little bit more work to do here, but super excited to get this all sorted and cleaned up. A clean garage and a happy wife.